The WRC sees hundreds of jumps each year, but only a handful of them have got a reputation. Some of the jumps are notorious for deceiving the drivers into thinking that the jump isn't that big, while other jumps are famous just because drivers can go flat over them and jump about 50 meters. The Yellow House Jump. Maybe the most famous jump in the world is the Yellow House Jump on Onibohe. The jump was made famous by Marco Märtin, who went flat over the jump in 2003 and flew 57 meters. Many WRC drivers, including Marco's prodigy Ott Tänak, have tried to beat Marco's record, but with the car's aerodynamics and suspensions getting better, it's basically impossible to beat the record. Urria's Jump. This jump is a backbreaker because the road just disappears beneath it. When you come in too fast, you can basically order yourself an ambulance in the air because your back is going to be smushed together. Because the road just disappears beneath it, cars don't fly far, but high. That's why we see drivers braking heavily coming onto the jump, because jumps that throw you high can really do some damage. Leustu Jump. This jump is very famous in Finland, but it was made world famous by Evgeny Novikov. Novikov is known as a guy who drove with his eyes, and his co-drivers were beside him just to give small ideas about where the road is going.
One day you have to listen a little bit.
That's why we see Novikov having crazy moments and crazy jumps, like this one. But why did he almost flip over? Well, the main issue when approaching jumps is that the nose dips too low, and you land nose first. To counter that, you need to go on the throttle before the jump, to load the rear and bring the nose back up. Well, Novikov obviously did that, so are you taking the piss? Well, his problem was that he didn't brake enough before the jump. He only tapped the brakes, and because he was carrying so much more speed, he was in the air longer, which means that more air could pass underneath the car and push the nose even higher. Ruuhimäki Jump. Another jump from Finland, which is very famous but hasn't gotten the recognition it deserves, is a jump on Ruuhimäki. Ruuhimäki is a very legendary stage in Finland, usually run on Sundays or as the shakedown stage, and it has lots and lots of jumps, but there is that one jump in the middle where drivers can go absolutely flat out and the cars just take off like airplanes. Micky's Jump. You'd think that Micky's Jump in Sardinia is maybe the only jump on the island, but you'd be wrong. Sardinia offers us lots of crests and jumps. Granted, the jumps aren't as common as in Finland, and they are a little different in terms of profile. The jumps in Sardinia throw the car high rather than far, and Micky's Jump is a prime example of that. I think no driver ever has tried to go flat over it. If you would go flat, you would land on the moon, but drivers have experimented trying to lose as little time as possible over the jump, and it has had some rather sad consequences. Rather sad. Colin's Crest. Colin's Crest is one of the most famous jumps on the calendar, mainly because of its name. In my opinion, it's not a special jump in any way, other than it's the biggest jump in Rally Sweden. Because it became famous, drivers tried to jump farther and farther, which made it interesting for us spectators. But really, having been on Colin's Crest and seen the cars jumping there, I can say I've seen better jumps. The Fafe. Another legendary jump that has been with the top of rallying for decades now. It sits on the most legendary stage in Portugal, the Fafe. Actually, the Fafe has basically two identical jumps. They both stand at the end of the stage, with the bigger one being right before the finish. What makes them difficult is that the road turns slightly just before the jump, and you can't see anything over the crest, so you need to guess where to jump. Also, there are ditches on the side of the road, so any small mistake is going to end very badly. All this has led to some very ugly crashes throughout the years. The Turkey Saliuk Jump. This jump in Turkey was made famous by a Ukrainian PWRC driver, Alexei Saliuk, who was driving a Mitsubishi Evo 9 in the 2010 PWRC Championship. I had the pleasure of spectating Rally Turkey in 2010, and even the same jump. I remember us leaving just before Saliuk came, and we were maybe 200 meters from the stage, and we heard the car coming. We looked back, just in case we could see the car between the crowds, but the car came flying over the spectators, and we could see the car clearly. Immediately, we understood that this car jumped twice as much as anybody else, and we ran back to see what had happened, but to our surprise, he didn't break in half and carried on. We saw his wheel racing him down the hill, looked at each other, and started laughing. We hope you enjoyed the video, and let us know in the comments what jumps should have been included in this list.